Jungle.
Hey guys, welcome back to my podcast. Today is my last day talking about horror movie news. Sad, I know, but we're wrapping up the month of October. We're wrapping up spooky season, which is kind of crazy because I feel like October really flew by. And I've had a lot of fun doing this. If you missed any of my other episodes where I talked about um, pretty much anything horror related, Halloween themed, you can go back and check those out on my Facebook page, on my YouTube page. And I also upload on Spotify and Anchor as well. So there's plenty of places for you to check out any of my past episodes. But yeah, so we're going to wrap it up today with all of the horror, spooky things. And then we're going to be going into November and we're going to be talking about holiday Christmas stuff, which is like crazy. So I'm excited to do that. But I am kind of sad to leave this stuff behind because I had fun doing this. But today is not really so much one specific topic. I'm going to be talking about multiple things. So hopefully you guys can kind of keep up with me because I'm going to be bouncing from one thing to another. But I thought today I would kind of just focus on, I guess you want to call it like horror movie news, what's going on in the horror genre, the thriller genre, that kind of thing. And just talk about what's the latest, if you want to call it gossiping, addressing rumors, controversies, all that kind of stuff. I thought that'd be kind of fun just to kind of, I guess, do like an update episode, if you want to call it. And then before I jump into all those topics, I did want to make an announcement that today will be my last day uploading on Tuesdays. So since I've started my podcast, I've been doing my podcast on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. So as you know, right now, I go live on Facebook and then I upload to the other social channels same day. So I mentioned this last week, if you've been watching me, that there might be a schedule change. And so I got the confirmation that Tuesdays will no longer work for me. So what I'm thinking now is I'm probably going to start doing the podcast on the weekends. And hopefully that will be a better day or a better time for people to tune in live because I know most people are working or at school right now. So if I do it on Saturdays, I think I want to keep the 1 p.m. time the same. If I start doing my podcast going live on Saturdays at 1 p.m., I think that maybe would be a little bit better. You guys can let me know. But just so you know, I'm not going to be doing it on Tuesdays anymore. So when next week rolls around and Tuesday comes and you're like, why is she not on live or why didn't she upload? It's because Tuesdays are scrapped for me, unfortunately. So I'm not going to say that Saturday is 100% confirmed, but that's what I'm leaning towards when I'll do my next podcast. So not this weekend, but next weekend. Maybe Sundays could be an option as well, but I'm thinking Saturday. You guys can let me know like what you think. Would you prefer for me to do my podcast on Saturdays or Sundays? But I'm leaning more towards Saturday. I just think that would be a little bit better. But yeah, so no longer doing on Tuesdays, but I will continue the podcast because I do want to try to continue to make time for this because I really have fun just talking and rambling with you guys. And, this is kind of just like a cool creative outlet for me. So I enjoy doing it. And I really enjoyed doing it this month in particular. But anyway, so enough about that. I'm going to jump into the first topic for today, which is the controversy over Netflix's Dahmer series. So I'm pretty sure everybody has like heard about it, maybe seen it. Heard something about it at this point. Now, I will preface this by saying I have not seen the series, so I can't speak in specifics as to what happens in the show and what they actually show and everything like that. But just, like everybody else, I've heard about it. I've seen people talking about it on social media, and I know there's been a lot of discourse around it, so I kind of wanted to get into that a little bit. First thing is, so I guess for anybody that maybe doesn't really know about it, it is about the serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer, and it's a true crime drama series. So it is, like people reenacting what happened. The show stars Evan Peters as Jeffrey Dahmer, and there's some other people. I think Niecy Nash is in the show, and probably some other maybe known actors. I'm not too sure because I haven't seen it. And then Ryan Murphy was one of the creators of the show, and Ryan Murphy has done a lot of like horror stuff. I think he was behind Scream Queens, and I think he might be behind American Horror Story as well. I'm not too sure about that, but I know when I hear his name, it's usually something horror related. So it's kind of like some big names behind this, and so it dropped earlier this month, and I feel like as soon as it dropped, it kind of went to like number one. And I think as of right now, it's currently still one of the top shows on Netflix. It's like number three or number four most watched. So people are still streaming it, people are still talking about it and everything. And I kind of just wanted to know like what you guys thought about it. What's your take on it? So for me, I when I first heard about it, I was, intrigued, and I usually would kind of like that kind of stuff because I do like true crime things, and it probably makes me sound weird, but I do kind of like to watch stuff about like serial killers or things like that that have happened. But I think I tend to go more so with like documentaries or like specials, so them showing, like actual evidence and things like that versus them making a TV show out of it and kind of reenacting everything. I feel like maybe that was why initially I was kind of just like, oh, okay, like, I didn't really jump to go and watch it like most people did. And then after it came out, everybody started talking about it on social media, and it was kind of the question of like, well, was this really ethical to make? Should they have really made this? And the reason why people were questioning that is because, a lot of Dahmer's victims' family members are still around, and they're seeing this stuff. They're seeing people talk about the show. They're seeing, I'm sure like most people have Netflix. So that's like the top show that they're showing on the homepage. And I can't imagine like being somebody that was directly affected by what he did and seeing that. It's like seeing my family member's murderer up on the, on the home screen, even though it's not really him, it's Evan Peters, but still. And so I think a lot of people are kind of just like, I don't know if this was the move. Like, I don't know if we really should have made this into a TV show. Like, there's been documentaries, there's been specials, there's been all kinds of things that kind of, that have done a deep dive into who he was as a person and why he did what he did and what he did and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of, I think people are kind of just like, was it really necessary? And I'm kind of questioning that too, even though, like I said, I do like true crime things and I tend to watch stuff like that. But I don't know, with this one in particular, I think just hearing about like the victims' families, I don't think they gave permission for them to make the show, and I don't think that they're happy about it from what I've heard. And I can imagine, how traumatizing that is to kind of relive that. So, I think that just kind of makes me feel bad too, and it kind of makes me not want to watch it even more. But I don't know. Maybe one day I'll get around to watching it, and then I'll talk about it on the podcast. But as of right now, I'm just kind of staying away from it. And also, like, there's some people, I mean, it kind of just depends on the person, like what you can handle. But I know there's some people that were like, they were just like, I can't get past the first episode. Like, I had to turn it off. So I don't know. I heard it's pretty brutal. I'm sure it's disturbing and unsettling knowing that this actually happened. Although, this is a show. So obviously they dramatize things for TV shows. But the gist of it is like these people were actually murdered, in really brutal and grotesque ways. And again, these family members really dealt with this in real life, and now it's kind of like them having to relive all that because everybody's talking about the show. And it's kind of getting to the point where I think people are, taking it a little bit too far as like, I think that it's okay to have an interest in true crime things because I do. And I think, yes, there's a part of it that is fascinating for us as humans because we're like, how could somebody do something like that? Or where is your head at to be able to do something like that? I think that's kind of normal for us to question those kinds of things. But I think some people are kind of taking it to where they're like idolizing him. And I know that people are like trying to dress up as him as Halloween. Like I've heard that might be one of the top costumes this year, which I think is really weird if you ask me. And like some people are trying to dress up their kids as him. And I'm like, you guys, like, this is a real person. Like this was a real person that actually killed people and really like shook up this community. It's not Freddy Krueger. It's not Jason, it's not, Pennywise. This isn't a fictional character. Like was a real person that was really cruel and embodied evil. And for you to be trying to dress up as him, or like worse, trying to dress up your child as him, I don't think that's cool. I don't think that's cute, to be honest. And I know some people are like, well, it's Halloween, it's just all for fun and it's just one day, but it's just like, yeah, but like you're really not thinking about how this is affecting people, And I think if you have any type of sympathy or compassion for people, you would kind of like question that to be like, is it really worth it to do that? There's so many other Halloween costumes out there that you could dress up as. And there's so many like, fake serial killers and slashers that you can dress up as. It's like, why him? Why would you want to do that? Um, but I know obviously people are still going to do it anyway, but I'm just kind of questioning that. And I kind of want to know like what you guys thought, like if you kind of think it's weird like I do, or do you not see a problem with it because it's just a Halloween costume? And I know some people will say that it happened a long time ago and he's dead now and all these things, but it's like it wasn't really that long ago, to be honest. Now if this was something like 100, 200 years ago, then yeah, it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal. But I think again, because people that were really affected by this in real life are seeing this, and they've expressed on social media how this is really hard for them to see this, and it's traumatizing and they don't like it and everything. I think I just can't help but be like, nah, I wouldn't do that if it was me, and I definitely wouldn't do that if I had a child. And again, it's just kind of making me not even really want to watch it right now. So I'm just kind of like, I think I'm just going to stay away from it. But you guys can let me know if you've seen it, what you thought about the series. So I heard it's 10 episodes, and I think each episode is probably almost an hour long. It's probably like 40, 50 minutes. So it's a good length. And yeah, like let me know what you thought about it, or what you think about the controversy surrounding the show. Do you feel like it needed to be made, or you think that like they shouldn't have made it? Like, what do you think? Like, even going as far as like the people that were involved in it, do you feel like they were wrong to be a part of it? Just let me know your thoughts, leave a comment. And I try to acknowledge and answer anybody that comments or anything like that. So you could comment down below on the Facebook video or on my YouTube page. You can also tweet me as well, because I'm usually on Twitter. And I will always have my socials in the comments on the Facebook page. So if you want to follow me on any of my social media pages, you could do that. And I highly suggest you do, just so you can kind of keep up with what's going on with the podcast. And then when I ask you guys questions, I like to be able to hear like what you guys think. So that's the best way to kind of interact with me. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to mention that because I was like, I'm still seeing a lot of people talk about it. And like I said, with Halloween coming up, I know there's gonna be people dressing as him. Like people are already doing it on TikTok, making skits. And I'm not gonna lie, some of it you kind of come across and you're like, oh, that's kind of funny. But then there's some stuff where I'm like, that wasn't it. I wouldn't have done that. So I don't know. It's just like, I think we just need to draw a line somewhere. Like it's almost like people are forgetting that this was real, and they're kind of just making it all fictional. And it's like, it's not fictional. Like, these people were actually murdered. He was a real person, and people were actually affected by it. So if anybody is listening to this, just take away from that just remember that real people were affected by this and are still to this day affected by this. Because that's not something you ever could really get over, even though it was a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that's horrible. That's like the worst thing that could happen to somebody's family member. So yeah, there's that. I know, kind of heavy starting off the podcast, kind of heavy, but I just really wanted to talk about it because I thought, I just thought like it's making me feel kind of weird. It's making me feel a little bit of a ways. That's why I really haven't watched it yet. And so that's why I was just like, I don't know if I'm the only one feeling like this. Maybe I should bring it up, see what you guys say. But yeah, I'll move on for that because I know it's pretty heavy. It's pretty dark topic. But anyway, let's move on to something better. So this year, I feel like the horror movies have just been like coming out back to back to back to back. I know this, like typically every year there is a horror movie that comes out, especially around Halloween time. But I just feel like this year in particular, like we've been getting a lot. Like we've been like anybody that's a fan of horror or thriller or whatever, like that whole genre has just been getting fed, like literally, and not just with movies, with TV shows as well too. I think, but there's been a lot of like dark TV shows that have come out, even like with Barry, like season 3, when I was talking about Barry, how dark that season was. It was pretty brutal, like really great show, but really brutal at the same time. And then with Stranger Things, and oh my God, like it's just been like really dark this whole year. A lot of the content that's come out. So, before I get into that though, I do want to remind you guys that my podcast is sponsored by Streann Media. So thank you to Streann Media for sponsoring the podcast. And the way I'm able to go live with you guys every week is through their Streann Studio software. So pretty much what you see, my little setup here, like the little border, my name, all that kind of stuff, that comes from Streann Studio. And then with me being the one hosting the show, I have all my little features that I can only see. You guys can't see it. But I have like a whole side panel of features that I can use that are really cool. It's really easy and simple to use, but it's all free. So as long as you're able to have an email and you get in with your login code, then you could use all this stuff just like me. It's really, like I said, it's really simple, and it doesn't have to be podcasting. It could kind of be whatever you want it to be. Um, some people like to do gaming. Some people like to do reviews and reactions, which is what I've kind of done a little bit. But as long as you want to make content and you want to do live streaming, you could definitely use Stream Studio, and I highly recommend it. So check it out if you've never heard of it, or if you're looking to get into content creation and live streaming and you want to kind of start making videos. You could definitely do that. And what's great about this too is when I go live, once I'm done and I hit end and I leave the live, it already has recorded for me. So it's much easier for me to upload to other social channels and other sites if I want to, because I already have that recording. So there you have it. But yeah, let's get into, like I said, some of the movies that have come out this year, or I guess recently. So I know one of the biggest ones, like one of the most anticipated ones, was Halloween Ends. Um, and I've been seeing people, like, I like to watch YouTube reactions and stuff like that. And so I've been seeing people kind of react to that. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews. And I have seen parts of the movie. I didn't go to see it, but I have seen parts of it just through people reacting. So I'm not going to try to spoil it or anything, but I did kind of want to know if anybody has seen it. Like, were you disappointed in it or did you love it? I know some people kind of felt like, maybe this is a little bit of a spoiler, but I guess some people felt like Michael Myers wasn't in the movie enough. I guess from what I've heard, he was only in like half of the movie. And I think people were kind of just like, this is the last movie. Like, why is he not in it? Like, he's not in it enough, I guess. But with that was a whole trilogy that they did. And I kind of just recently found this out because I didn't even know. So obviously we know, like, there's a ton of Halloween movies. I don't even know how many there are now, but the original, came out in 1978. And so they pretty much signed a deal to make a trilogy of Halloween movies. And so the first one came out in 2018 and they just titled it Halloween. And that was pretty much like a sequel to the first one. And I think it was supposed to be like 30, 40 years later or something like that. So it's pretty much like, you kind of just ignore Halloween 2 and 3, 4, or 5, all the other ones that came out after the first one. It doesn't follow that story. It really just picks up from what happened in the first one, which I thought was kind of cool. So in Halloween, I did see that one, the 2018 version. That one's like, you could tell they were definitely paying like respect and homage to the first one. And so I think people would really like that one if you haven't seen it. If you like the original, you'll probably like the newer one. Obviously, it's modern, so it's much more like brutal. The kills are much more brutal, but it really is reminiscent of the first one, which I thought was cool. And then they did Halloween Kills, which came out last year. I haven't seen that one. And then this one that just dropped is Halloween Ends. So this is the last one in the trilogy. And from what I've heard, this is Jamie Lee Curtis's last movie. I think she's retiring. Or I know she's retiring from, she's not going to be reprising her role as Laurie anymore. So, again, I think that's why a lot of people were anticipating this one, because it was like, is she going to die? Is Michael going to die? Like, what's going to happen? And I do kind of know what happened at the end, but I'm not going to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it. But yeah, I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about Halloween Ends. So let me know, like, what you guys thought, or what you thought about the whole entire trilogy. Do you think that, did you like the trilogy better than maybe some of the other movies that came out like back in the early 2000s? But like I said, Halloween 2018 version I felt like was pretty good. So I would recommend that one if you like the original. And yeah, I don't think there's going to be any Halloween movies coming out anytime soon. I mean, I'm not going to say ever, because it's such a iconic franchise. I don't see them just never making Halloween movies again. It's just, it wouldn't be the same because, Jamie Lee Curtis won't be in it. And I think it'll probably be some years from now before they make another one to kind of like, to do like another reboot or whatever, and to kind of introduce it to a new generation. But yeah, it's something that they just kept going with this franchise, like on and on and on. I'm like, how many times is this dude gonna die and still come back? Like, it literally makes no sense, because I don't know how many times Michael has died or how many times Laurie has killed him, and he still keeps coming back. And I'm like, what? what is the point? Like, he's gonna come back. It doesn't even matter if they go through all of this to kill him because he still comes back. So it's crazy. It's insane. But anyway, so there was this Halloween Ends that most people were anticipating, and I know a lot of people are still talking about that. Then there's another movie that dropped recently called Smile. I haven't seen that. I don't plan on seeing it. It looked really, really creepy. I don't really know like the whole premise of it. All I know is I think it's about a demon, and it has to do with like I don't even know how to explain it, but it's basically like the demon, I guess, makes you see things that aren't really there, I guess. And so it's like you're seeing people everywhere you look, everybody's smiling, but it's a very like, sinister, demonic smile. It's not like a genuine smile. So it's really creepy. And I saw them doing a lot of they were doing a lot of like promotion and marketing for that movie before it came out. That's how I kind of heard about it and stuff. So I guess they were really pushing to get people to go and see the movie. And I've saw some people on TikTok saying like, if you're like struggling with depression or anxiety or you're having suicidal thoughts, like not a good movie to recommend. So I guess it's pretty dark. So there's your warning there. If you haven't heard that, it is a pretty dark movie from what I've heard. So kind of be careful if you're going to see it. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to see it, at least not right now or anytime soon. I really don't want to see that because it just looks really creepy. I would rather watch a Halloween movie, to be honest. But yeah, so Smile was another big one. And then what I wanted to get into and what I wanted to do is watch the trailer for this, Megan. So there is a movie coming out in January. I think it's either the 6th or the 13th. It's supposed to be in theaters. It's called Megan. It is about a doll. And as you guys know, anytime there is a horror movie with a doll involved, that's not a good thing. It's never a good thing to have a doll in a horror movie. So a lot of people, have been comparing this to Chucky, comparing it to Annabelle and things like that. From what I've seen bits and pieces of it because, like I said, I like to watch people react to things on YouTube. I'm subscribed to a few like reactors and stuff, and they'll react to trailers and stuff like that. So I've seen bits and pieces of it like that, but I haven't actually sat and watched the full trailer myself. So that's what we're going to do today. And I definitely want to show you guys. So hopefully anybody that like just listens to my podcast, make sure you watch this so you can actually see the trailer and watch my reaction. I think that will be more fun for you, obviously. But yeah, so we're going to get into the trailer and then we'll kind of talk about it a little bit afterwards. I really just know it's about a doll. And it's not just a rag doll. It's like a actual like almost human type of doll. It's like AI, I think, so like artificial intelligence, and it's able to talk and have conversations with you, and it walks and all this crazy stuff. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. Just give me a moment to share my screen so you guys can see, and hopefully this works because this is only my second time doing this. But yeah, we're gonna get into it. Just give me a second. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that. I'm on YouTube, by the way, so if you want to go back and watch it yourself, you could definitely go on YouTube and look it up. And this is like over 18 million views. Like, Jesus, that's a ton of people. So yeah, okay, I'm not going to talk anymore. We're just going to get into it. Hopefully this isn't too loud, or hopefully you guys can hear it when I play it, but let's watch it.
Katie, you lost your parents. Welcome home. You're my niece. I'm going to do everything I can to make this place feel like home.
I just wish I could see them again.
I'm not equipped to handle this. I don't even take care of my own plants. I have this project at work. Do you want to see?
Yes.
Ever since I was little, I dreamed of this perfect toy that would protect a kid from ever feeling lonely or sad. This is Megan.
Hi, Megan. I'm Katie. It's nice to meet you, Katie. Do you want to hang out?
No, I don't. Okay.
Megan, your goal is to protect Katie from harm, both physical and emotional. Is that a doll?
Why is she so big?
Android. Megan, for short.
I can't believe you made this. I love it.
Wanna hang out, yeah, sounds like fun.
Great job.
It's nice to have a friend. It's
Not
honestly
to
like
play
she's
this
part of the
Taylor
family
Swift
now.
music in the
They could
background.
be building emotional connections that are too hard to untangle.
She's the happiest she's been since her parents died. Eat the toppings, Katie.
Research shows if you force a child to eat vegetables, they'll be less likely to choose those foods as adults.
Is that so?
Yes, experts say.
Megan, turn off.
I thought we were having a conversation.
Now see, nope.
Does she talk? Make her say something.
Stop! Don't! Megan! You should probably run.
I know you lying.
Megan, she pushed Brandon onto the road. I won't let anything harm you.
Megan, turn off.
Recalibrating response model.
Oh.
What's wrong with you? Don't worry, Katie. I won't let anything harm you. Ever again.
It's nice to have a friend.
Okay, that was the trailer. Yeah, okay, I see why people are comparing it to Chucky now. It's definitely giving Chucky for sure. Yeah, that's creepy. First of all, why is the doll so big? Like, that is not a doll. That's like a full, like, human size person. Now I'm sure it's, obviously a real, little girl playing the doll, but I'm just like, why would you ever want a doll that big? Like that doll is as big as that girl, as big as the girl, and not that far off from the aunt or whatever. Like, no, that was your first mistake, making a doll that big. Chucky isn't even that big. Like, I'd be more scared of this doll than Chucky. I mean, Chucky is crazy, and yeah, he kills, but he's not, like, he's small. So it's just like, I don't know why a doll would be that big, but yeah. What do you guys think? Do you think it's worth the watch? I mean, it's not coming out until January, so have time to save up your coins if you want to go see it and everything. I might go see it. I don't know. It looks really creepy though. I'm not gonna lie. And I think what's so scary about this in particular is because they're going the whole like AI angle. So it's, the doll is super smart. It's not like a person. It's not like with Chucky. I think it was. I'm not too familiar with like the whole Chucky series, but I think it was like the guy died or the guy did some type of voodoo or something, and he went into the Chucky doll, and that's why Chucky can talk and do all this stuff. But this is like something that was made from scratch and made from technology, and now it could talk and it's super smart and all this kind of stuff, and now it's turning against her, basically, is what it's doing. So but I think what's so scary about this is because there's actually like real scientists and people that are involved in tech that want to make stuff like this, and they're probably actively working on stuff like this as we speak, which is really creepy. And I'm like, have you guys never seen I, Robot, like the Will Smith movie where like, I think it was based in like the future maybe or something like that. I haven't seen the movie in years, but it was like all these robots and they were like servants and all this kind, and like they walked among people and then they started turning on humans, and I'm like, like, y'all don't think that would happen if you really started making robots and dolls and stuff like that to be that smart? I don't think that's the way to go. Hopefully they never do that in our lifetime. Maybe they'll do that way in the future, but yeah, no, I don't think I would like that. So yeah, I think that's a pretty cool concept to kind of dive into, because I feel like it really relates to real life as far as, like I said, people actually wanting robots and dolls and things that can actually talk and everything like that. And I think with just how quickly technology is advancing, it's like that wouldn't be far off for something like that to be made. So that's what's really creepy about it, if you ask me. But yeah, to me, it's not anything like Annabelle, because I think Annabelle was like, I'm pretty sure there was like an entity or like a spirit that went into Annabelle. It wasn't so much that the doll Annabelle itself is evil. It was like what was in it, what went into the doll. So this is different. But But yeah, creepy. What do you guys think? Like, are you gonna go watch it? Do you want me to watch it so that I can do a review for you guys and we can discuss it? Please don't tell me to watch it. But maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. But yeah, I know a lot of people were talking about, I think they were probably laughing about it too, because that part where she's dancing and everything. And I'm like, Miss Thing, no. That part was kind of funny. But the thing I don't really like about that is, like, I don't know why they make trailers so long now. That was like 2 minutes and 30 seconds or something like that. I don't know. But I'm like, why don't they make trailers like a minute? It doesn't need to be that long. You don't need to tell that much of the story, because then I feel like you're giving away a little bit too much when you do that. But that's just me though. I just feel like it's better when we as an audience, we know less, because then there's mystery surrounding it and people are like, oh, I want to know more about this. So yeah, I'm going to go see it. Or especially when it's horror, I think it's scarier that way when you're not really showing much, because then it's like, oh shoot, like what's going on? What's happening? Who's doing this? So yeah, I kind of wish they wouldn't show too much. But then again, I know sometimes with trailers, you go see a movie and you're like, what happened to that scene that was in the trailer? And it's like, it didn't even make the final cut. So I know they do that sometimes. So it could be one of those situations as well. But yeah, that's the only thing I would say. I wish the trailer itself wasn't so long, um, but it still looks interesting though. It still could be a maybe. I'll say a maybe, because I'm really not at that point where I want to just go watch every horror movie that comes out. I think I'm leaning more into the genre now and kind of being more open to it. Even though I'm still a scary person, but I'm not like every horror movie that comes out, I'm running to the theater to go see it. I'm still selective about what I want to see, because this is some stuff that's like really disturbing and will really creep me out to the point where I'll be like scared to go to sleep, and I don't want to be that way. So so yeah, there's Megan. And the fact that they were using Taylor Swift music, like, stop it. Oh my gosh. They were making it all inviting in the beginning, like making you come into, you're like, oh, this is kind of a cool story. And then they just flipped it. And I think that's pretty cool that they're making Taylor's music. I kind of like when trailers do that, when they turn a song that's like poppy or ordinary and they turn it into something very creepy because the way they remix it and stuff. And I think Jordan Peele does that really well, like with a lot of his trailers, I think, or almost all of his trailers. He's used songs, like old hip-hop songs that we know and love, and then he like slows it down, he adds something. Well, I don't know if it's really him, it's like whoever is mixing the music, but the way they do that is really good. So I kind of like when they do that. But it's also like, you're about to ruin that song for me, like, please do not do that. But anyway, before I jump into my last topic, again, I just want to remind you guys that my podcast is sponsored by Streann Media. So if you don't know what Streann Media is, or if you've never used their Streann Studio software and you're curious, please go check them out. Go to studio.streann.com, and Streann is spelled STREANN, so 2 N's. And all you need is your email, and you get a login code, and then you're in. So check that out, and please tag me and tag them, of course, as well, if you use it, just so I know that, what I'm saying is getting through to you guys and that you guys like it and everything, and tag them just so they know that more people are using their Streann Studio software. But anyway, last topic of this episode, which this is like, I saved, I guess, the best for last. At least to me, it's what I'm most excited to talk about. So I recently heard, I don't know how long this news has been floating around. Maybe it's old news, but this is new to me. So I heard, or I read, I should say, that they are doing a reboot of The Crow. You guys, The Crow is one of my favorite movies. So the fact that they're doing a reboot of this makes me really excited and intrigued. And I'll tell you why. So Bill Skarsgård is supposed to play Eric Draven, which I'm like, okay, I could see him doing that, because first of all, he's a good actor. And if you guys don't know, Bill Skarsgård played Pennywise in the new It films. And he's done, I feel like, pretty much every like role that I've seen him in has always been something, scary or something like that. So I feel like that's kind of the genre that he's in. That's kind of his niche. So it seems like that would be a good role for him. And I think he could pull it off. So I'm really intrigued, mainly because he's starring in it. And then it's a Rupert Sanders flick, by the way. And then according to, I wrote notes about it just so I make sure I had this right. According to Collider.com, which is a website, they have all these like movie and TV news and everything. It's a cool website. They're saying that production wrapped in Prague. So that means they've already shot the movie, or at least they've shot, I guess, the majority of the movie. Now, obviously, it still has to go through editing and everything, but that means they've done the movie. So I'm excited to see a trailer or some type of images to come out. I haven't seen anything of that yet. So hopefully next year we'll see something about it. But um, I'm really excited about it. Like, what do you guys think? Do you think a reboot would be cool? Because I feel like because Bill Skarsgård is attached to it, I feel like it could be good. Now I don't know who else will be in it, as far as like co-stars and everything, but um, I don't know. I feel like he could pull off that role for sure. And for those who don't know what The Crow is, first of all, how have you never seen The Crow? Because The Crow is a really good movie, but it's it is the original movie came out in 1994, and it starred Brandon Lee, so Bruce Lee's son, and he plays Eric Draven, who to be honest, it's a sad story, but I don't know, it's a good movie though. But it's about a guy named Eric Draven, and his fiancee Shelly. They get murdered on Halloween night, and they get murdered by a bunch of like I don't know if you're gonna call them like gangsters or like whatever, but by like a group of bad dudes basically. And a year later, a crow resurrects Eric's soul, and so he comes back for Halloween night to kind of like get revenge on the people that killed him and his fiance, and kind of to protect like the town from these people, because these people are kind of like, it wasn't just them that they killed, like they've gone around and killed other people as well, and they just do bad stuff, and the cops haven't really been able to stop them. And so when he comes back, he's kind of like, this is my chance to like you know get revenge, but also to protect these other people too, I think. But it's sad. It's really like a story about grief as well, and kind of just coming to terms with what happened, because even though he comes back for that one night, like he's still dead, and he still lost his fiance, which is really, really sad, because they did her wrong, like for sure. But you have to watch the movie, the first movie. They went on to do like 3 other sequels, and they did a TV show. I've never seen the sequels or the other movies that they did. I heard they weren't that great, so I never really had an interest to go and watch them. And I think a big part of that is because not Bruce Lee, but Brandon Lee, who plays Eric Draven in the original movie, actually died on set. So, after that happened, there's always been like tragedy and like controversy surrounding the Crow series after that happened. So I think probably once he died, it was kind of like, why try to go on and make other movies, because nobody's ever going to play it like him, which I feel like that's true. But they did go on to make other sequels, but I'm pretty sure they didn't do that well compared to the first one, so I don't know. But the TV show, I will say, was pretty good. Now, I watched the TV show on YouTube, so I think the episodes should still be on there if anybody wants to check it out. There's only one season, then it got canceled, so it didn't run for that long. But Mark Dacascos plays Eric Draven in the TV show. I love the TV show. I don't know why, but I like Mark Dacascos is probably like the only other actor that I've seen that like in my head is Eric Draven besides Brandon Lee. I still see him as first because he was the first one that played it, and I think he played it really well. And I honestly don't see anybody else like outdoing him or doing it. I hopefully Bill Skarsgård doesn't try to do it that way. I don't think he will. I feel like he'll probably find his own way to play it. But I think anybody trying to recreate that, it would be a fail. So, because he played it so well. But yeah, like the show was good to me. I don't know why they canceled it, but I guess not enough people were probably watching it, but the show was good. So if you were like, I didn't like the sequels, or I don't really want to get into the sequels, at least watch the show. And it's called The Crow Stairway to Heaven. And like I said, I seen it on YouTube years ago, so it might still be on there, it might not. I don't know. I'm sure you can find it online somewhere like that. But yeah, it was a good show. I don't know why they canceled it. I would have loved to see a season 2, but that was way back then, so I doubt that will ever happen again. But yeah, I love The Crow, and I think if I'm not mistaken, I think The Crow, like the character and the story, originally comes from a 1989 comic book series by James O'Barr or James O'Barr. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. So it does come from a comic book series. So I'm not sure how true the original is to the comic book, because I've never read the comic book. But all I know is I love the movie, like the original movie, and I love the show, and I just love the story in itself. So I feel like them coming back for to do a reboot and to kind of reintroduce the story to people that maybe seen the original or people that have never heard of it, I don't know. I feel like it could be a good thing. I hope they don't ruin it because there's already been a ton of controversy and, like I said, tragedy surrounding the series. But I think this could be maybe the one where it's like, hey, this is actually a pretty good reboot, you know? Um, and I think the other thing too is, I remember there was a video of, so there's a character named Sarah, a little girl named Sarah in the movie and in the show as well. She's a part of the story, and she was friends with Eric and Shelly. And her mom is like a drug addict, so she's pretty much like a loner. Like she doesn't really have anybody, and so they were kind of her friends. They kind of, I guess you could say, took care of her, kind of took her in. And so when they died, that was like really devastating for her as well, because then it was like she was pretty much on her own. And so she has like this bond with Eric in the movie and in the show as well, which is kind of like one of my favorite parts of that whole story. But the actress that played Sarah in the original movie has spoken up like on video saying that she didn't want to see them trying to like do other movies, and like I'm pretty sure she didn't. I don't know if she actually seen the sequels, but I think she was pretty much against it, and she was just like, I don't know, like, you know, just let it rest where Brandon, you know, because he died on set, so that was like really horrible. I mean, it was an accident, but it's just like really sad, you know. And I think, you know, and she was a kid that at that time, so I'm sure for her that was kind of like traumatizing, something that she'll probably never forget. Like, you know, one day you're acting with this guy and then the next, like, he's gone, and it's like, and I think from what I remember reading, he died like before the movie was actually finished filming. So I think the majority of the film had to be done with his, you know, like his stunt double and like the body double and everything. So I think I'm pretty sure he filmed the majority of the film, because I don't remember any parts of the film where it looked like it wasn't him. So they did a good job in like editing and everything, but he did die before it fully wrapped and everything. So, yeah, really, really horrible. I really wish that wouldn't have happened, because he was really talented and everything. And I think he would have gone on to do like really cool like action movies and stuff. But you know, but yeah. So I know she said, like, the actor that played Sarah in the original one, she said that she didn't like really want to see any more sequels or people trying to redo the movie and everything. So I don't know. And I think they've tried to do reboots and you know, other sequels and stuff, and it just wouldn't get up off the ground for whatever reason. And so the fact that this one, they've actually, you know, like filmed this one and everything, I feel like maybe it could be, I don't know, I just have hope that it could be a good movie, hopefully, and to kind of like reintroduce people to it, like I said, or give people an introduction to the story, because I think it's a really good story. And like I said, it's one of my favorite movies. And I would love to see like Bill Skarsgård as Eric Draven. I think he could do a really good job. Now, do not cut to this if the movie comes out and it's not good. Just to be like, remember what you said? You said he was going to do a good job. Yeah, no, he didn't. I hope not. I just have hope, you know. I just have hope. Maybe I just want it to be good because I really love the story. And I think Bill Skarsgård is a really good actor. Like, even outside of playing Pennywise, I've seen him in other things, and he does really well. And like I said, in horror genre. So I think he could, although this isn't really horror, but it is like a dark movie. So it's definitely like a rated R type of movie. So I just feel like he will do it justice, is what I'm saying. So we'll see. I don't know. Hopefully, like, I mean, if we get some more information about it coming out soon, or if I'm hoping we get like a trailer at some point, like maybe like early next year. I don't know. If we get like a trailer or some images come out or just more info about it, then maybe I'll kind of mention it on the podcast and just kind of like, you know, kind of keep you guys up to date and stuff like that. Or if any type of significant news surrounding it drops, you guys can let me know as well, in case I don't see it or in case I miss it. Of course, you can hit me up on social media. Like I said, on Twitter, that's where I'm usually discussing fandom related things and stuff like that. So yeah, you can definitely know on there. But anyway, that was the last topic for today's episode. So I'm going to wrap this up pretty soon. Thank you guys for tuning in. And thank you guys for just continuously watching my podcast. Anybody that watches or listens or comments, I really appreciate all the support. This is my 29th episode. Next week will be my 30th, which is crazy. I feel like I've been doing it that long, but at the same time, I don't. I'm kind of just like, how am I already like 30 episodes in? Like, it's kind of weird. But yeah, I'm hoping to continue this because I have fun doing this. And I really want to come up with some good content for you guys going into like November and especially December for like Christmas. My favorite holiday, as much as I love Halloween, and I know I've been talking about all horror stuff and everything, the way I've been geeking out, you would probably think Halloween is my favorite, but definitely Christmas has always been my favorite holiday. So I feel like getting into holiday related topics will be really fun for me as well. And of course, if there's anything that you guys want me to discuss, or maybe something that I missed out for Halloween, please let me know and I can kind of go back and revisit it. I'm open to suggestions for topics and everything like that. Or if there's TV shows that you want me to watch and you want me to do like a recap, I can definitely go back to doing that as well. And then, of course, if you want to be on the podcast, don't be afraid to hit me up. We could definitely work something out and I can get you on the show and we can have fun discussions and everything. Or if you have a friend that wants to be on, we could do a group discussion. Like, we could do it all, y'all. We could do it all. We could do it all. So anyway, like I said, I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you next weekend. So remember, not doing Tuesdays anymore, but next weekend. So I'm thinking Saturday, but if it is Sunday or if it is a different day, I'll definitely announce it on my social media account. So follow me there. And I'll put it down below in the comments so you guys know my usernames and everything. But I'm gonna say see you next weekend for right now, because that's what it's looking like I'm gonna be doing the podcast on. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed, all my spooky horror related themed talks of October, because I had so much fun doing it. I believe the next time I come on to do the podcast, Halloween will have passed. So happy Halloween to everybody. Please be safe. Be aware of your surroundings. If you're going out to a party, if you're going trick-or-treating, anything like that, just please be safe. Please be aware, and check your candy, because sometimes people be doing stuff to their candy. I don't know what, but people do stuff to the candy. So check your candy and have a good time. And hopefully I, get to see all your guys' like costumes and outfits and everything like that. I don't really have a costume for this year. I don't really have any like major plans or anything. So, because I will be working. So it's like, I don't know. I really don't know if I'll do anything, but if I do, I'll post it on like my Instagram stories or Twitter or something. You'll see it, or on Facebook or whatever. Maybe I'll just do like a cute little makeup look or something. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, happy Halloween to you guys, and I will see you next weekend. Bye-bye.